Executive dysfunction is like when you want to really do something and you just can't. I find grocery shopping really draining because I go through every single aisle just in case I forget something. And I stand in the aisle and I get indecisive over what I want to get. And I'll be Googling reviews, like, is this a better one or that one? Do I get the brand name? And it just takes so much out of me. While other people are just like, I got my list, like I'm getting this, this, and that.
It's really hard to get myself to get things done. So like, I find there's a big wall blocking me from getting things done at home. And like, this applies to other things as well, but like chores and stuff, it's difficult.
In university, just this past year, every single time I'd have to go to my classes, I would have to look up the room number every single time, even though I went weekly, just because you look once and you see the number and that's it. You don't register it and like remember it and keep it. I would have to repeat it to myself and be really intentional and be like 549, 549 to really remember it.
Like, some people think that the extra time for assignments and tests is because you can't focus on it, and that's part of it, but it's also because I need to take that extra time to just organize myself and say, this is what I'm gonna do, here's how I'm gonna do it, and this is the order of the way it's gonna happen, because that takes me a lot longer, where some people can just sit down and do that.
You often misplace things and try and find them again, and it's really hard when you also struggle to keep your room clean, so things are even further lost.
For me, when my routine or any change happens, it's very challenging. Even if it's something as simple as, you know, I was supposed to go to someone's house at 12, but they changed it to 3 o'clock. If I have, you know, gotten ready, I want to be there at a specific time, when something changes, it's really hard.
I would say that getting things done on time isn't like the main issue with time management, but time management is still really hard. And I hand most things in on time, and I can do most of the work that I have to do, and I can get to places on time, so it doesn't seem like time management is a problem, but it's so draining. And to sit down and realize that I have this due on this day, and another task due on a completely different day. And I have to work on both of them, and I'm like, how much time do I spend on each, and how do I prioritize, and how do I organize that? And for some people, they can just sit down and be like, oh yeah, well, do this first. It just makes sense to them. They know what to do first. And I can't. I just sit down and I'm like, it's all equal in my head, and I have to do all of it, and I can't do it at the same time. And
time management and organization for me was definitely something that I could not do. If it wasn't for the extra time provided by my IEP, I don't think I would have got through high school.
One of the big areas I have trouble with would be time management and organization. I'm not very good at it, as I tend to jump from one thing to the other. Whatever's most interesting is at the top of my priorities versus instead of what I actually need to do.
And I just noticed that I need more structure. So I actually just moved into a new place, and my roommate asked me the other day, like, hey, you know, the bathroom gets really murky sometimes. Do you mind cleaning it here and there? And I said, sure. But later I realized, I really need to tell her, I actually really need a structure for this. Can we make this so I clean it once a month at this time? Otherwise I'm gonna forget. And I also need to be held accountable.
So yeah, ADHD is kind of part of my family. And it's something that my parents also have a lot of traits that are similar to ADHD. So it becomes, so for doing things at home, it's much easier because they also are very understanding, and they also have their own ways that they cope, which is very helpful for me as well. Like they give many reminders on many different times, especially leading up to when I need to have something done. And those things, and they're also very forgiving for if like I just forget to do something or other, because that is something they also have gone through and they still do today.
I love this idea of breaking things down into the smallest baby steps that we can, because things feel overwhelming all the time. And I like knowing that there's ways that are affirming to me and the way that I work that are validating to me, taking as long as I need to.
If you are starting the journey, I think one of the best things you need to do is find strategies that are gonna work for you. You can talk to 1,000 people with ADHD, but what works for me might not work for you. So personally, as I've mentioned, for me, being active in sports and journaling, and I have my phone on me all the time. I'm constantly putting in things that I need to remember and that I need to do, but find what works for you.